Hey everybody, how's it going? So there's a couple of things I wanted to discuss in this video. The first is that what is going on tomorrow in Maine is not a hearing, it is a work session. A work session, to my knowledge, is often something the public can attend, but it is not something where they ask for testimony from the public like they do in a hearing. So if you are preparing to show up tomorrow and speak, there is a good chance that there will be no one to listen to what you have to say. You'll get to listen to the work session, listen to politicians speak back and forth, but you may not be able to actually testify. My apologies for giving you the wrong impression. I am still new to this. I am kind of diving headfirst into the deep end, into this lobbying thing and pretending to be a lobbyist, and I am learning, as you can see, as I go. I am just a citizen that wants to advocate for what they believe in. I am not someone that is well versed in all the technicalities of the legal process. Now, I still think it may be beneficial if people do show up to a work session just to show politicians, hey, there are lots of people that are interested in this bill. There's lots of people here that support it, because I've heard some rumblings that some of the concerns that they have are regarding battery safety. I'm also not sure if there will be opportunities to have robust conversations with senators and assembly people after the work session is over. Maybe you'll actually get to show up to your representative's office. Maybe you'll get to bump into them in the hallway and say something. I don't really know how this works. I remember with Jessa going from door to door in Nashville, Tennessee with an open iPhone showing people how to fix their phones. And it was kind of fun. It wasn't like we really knew what the difference between a hearing and a work session and all these other things were. We were just two people that showed up, and we seemed to make a mark on some of the senators that we got to meet. And it was really interesting. So I hope that it's something that is recordable. If it is, I will be recording it. I am doing my best to find people to record the hearing in Hawaii that I may not be able to make. It's really difficult because I've called over 25 videographers at this point, and I've only gotten 2 of them to pick up the phone, and 1 of them is taken. I don't know what it is with Hawaii, because some of those people were paying for AdWords, and they weren't picking up the phone at 1:30 and 4 p.m. in a weekday afternoon. That just blows my mind, that someone could be paying $10 or $20 or $30 a click for AdWords, and it's still impossible to get them to pick up the phone. But I'm hoping one of the 25 places I called gets back to me so that I can have someone to do a professional recording job on the Hawaii hearing. We are trying to expand here. Rossman Broadcasting Corporation is no longer a meme. It is becoming a reality. The next thing I wanted to do is comment on something that showed up in my comment section recently that grossly disappointed me. It was a comment in the last video that I did on who was that? I forget. Anya's testimony regarding right to repair. Someone posted, this person is an SJW, this, that, or the other. If that's the case, I'm reversing my stance on right to repair because this person supports it. And it seemed to be someone, based on what they stated, that seems to lean more conservative. And this kind of made me sad for a couple of reasons. Because a lot of people who lean conservative or who lean Trump-supporting tend to be very aggravated when people will dismiss a good decision or a good piece of legislation simply because they dislike the individual, Trump, that's attached to it. They'll say that that is something called Trump derangement syndrome, or they'll invoke the NPC meme and so on and so forth. And I find it really sad when someone from that camp will do the exact same thing that they don't like happening done to them, which is say, this is a good cause, this is a good decision, this is something I agree with, but I don't like the person who agrees with the thing I agree with, so I'm now reversing my stance on it. That kind of makes me sad for a number of reasons. I've mentioned in one video that I did that in the non-aggression principle video that I don't like it when ideas have people rather than the other way around. And this is something that I've said many times. I don't really care who I get to speak to about it. When it comes to advancing something a cause that I believe will help people, will help society, will help my industry, and will be beneficial for the majority of people involved, I don't care what someone's political affiliations are. I don't care if you're a Democrat, a Republican, or a Libertarian. I don't care who you are. I don't care where you are in the political spectrum. I'll sit down and have a conversation with you. I don't even care about whether I'm doing this politically or from a political standpoint, or if I'm doing it from a motivational standpoint, where this is something I mentioned in an older video, I'll link it down below, that that right to repair is 99% inspiration, 1% legislation. The idea in that video is, yeah, you could go the legal route of making of a right to repair bill, or you could get young people engaged in what we're doing so that when they start working at these companies, when they become members of the board at these companies or their own companies, they're not going to tolerate an ISL 9240 not being for sale and being incompatible with last year's chip by a tiny margin so that nobody can fix their machines. It doesn't matter whether this is something that I'm influencing culturally or legally. I don't care if I'm speaking to Bernie Sanders or Donald Trump. It doesn't matter to me. It's a cause that what matters to me is the cause and forwarding that cause. Bernie Sanders has said that he would support right to repair. If I were to have a conversation with Bernie Sanders and sit down with him, I would say that this is something where large companies are trying to, it's not good enough that you get almost a $1 trillion valuation. You always need more. And they're doing that by kneecapping small repair shops so that you're forced to buy a new one. It's greed, plain and simple, and they're trying to screw over the end consumer and small businesses, and I would seek to gain a support that way. If I was speaking to a conservative, I would tell them that conservative values, if you look back throughout the history of our country, private property was very important. We've always taken pride in being able to work on our own electronics, and even the greediest companies, even 40 or 50 years ago, had never tried the stuff that they try today. When you grew up, you were able to work on your own stuff, and this is a case of big tech companies trying to get around the concept of personal property by making technology that breaks and then forcing you to get another one from them, therefore saying that you don't own your property. So they're trying to get rid of personal property laws. They're trying to get rid of the conservative principles that we've had of working on our own property throughout the history of our country. And the people, and also all the people who are pushing this are people in big tech, the Facebook, Google, Apple, and so on and so forth. And most conservatives don't exactly like big tech. And what they do is they wrap themselves in this progressive blanket and claim they're progressive, but they're actually trying to take away your rights to private property. So if you quote dislike progressives, then take a look at the progressives here that are trying to take away your rights to your personal property, and there you go. So it doesn't matter who I speak to. I'll have a conversation with either side of the aisle, and I will strike points to get them to understand where it is I'm coming from. I remember even Donald Trump in some rally somebody linked me to in late October of 2016. He was talking about, I don't remember the date, it was late October 2016. He was talking about how you used to have these people that got awful grades in school, they were terrible at school, but they could take apart and fix just about anything, and they would go on to get jobs fixing appliances and cars, and they were great value to society, and we need to have more of that. It doesn't matter what side of the aisle someone's on. It doesn't matter if I like them or dislike them. It doesn't matter if I agree or disagree with their political views. I will put all of that crap aside because this is a cause that I care about. This is something that I know will help my customers. I know it will help people in my industry. I know it will help the environment. I know that all the way around that what I'm advocating for is a good thing. So it doesn't matter if I like or dislike one individual opinion of what someone has to say who is advocating for the same cause that I do. I don't have to agree with you on everything. I don't have to agree with you on 50%. I don't have to agree with you on 10%. If I agree with you with this in this one area, then I will happily stand by your side and lobby alongside you and advocate alongside you for what it is that I believe in. I am never going to toss my own cause under a bus just because I have some sort of petty grievance regarding other issues that are unrelated to the cause that we are talking about today. And I think the very reason that very little gets done in our country politically to actually help the common person is because people are too busy with these petty squabbles to actually speak about and fix what matters. And I think if you talk to people on all sides of the aisle, regardless, like here, there, you'll find that on a lots of core issues that there's a ridiculous amount of agreement on things that are liked and disliked, even if you have different ways that you would go about achieving those things. Even if you have different ideologies that state this is the way that I would go to seek prosperity. This is the way I would seek prosperity. A lot of people would tend to agree with the concept that they don't like paid lobbyists making things up, reading things off of a piece of paper that they don't even believe for money. That's something that people I speak to on virtually all sides of the aisle find disgusting and appalling when they hear people who have no knowledge of a field read off of a piece of paper that someone else gave them, that read things that are not true, read statements that are misleading to try to screw the public and the consumers out of their rights to work on their own personal property, like that has universal appeal, and it goes beyond any sort of nonsensical party line. I don't care what your political beliefs are, and I don't care how much we may disagree on every other issue. You may even be so fucked in the head that you think dogs are better than cats. I would still stand next to you and lobby alongside of you. But that's it for today, and as always, I hope you learned something. I'll have links in the video description down below to the items that I discussed here. Maybe you'll be able to see the comment I was talking about in another video. You'll get to see the video where I say that right to repair is 99% inspiration, 1% legislation, and you'll get to see a link to the work hearing in Maine. I am going to get some sleep because I'm honestly starting to get kind of tired. Like, new store setup, managing business, running around lobbying, YouTube videos. It's like, yeah. But such is life. Can't complain, can't bitch, can't say, woe is me, because that won't get anything done. And the moment I got that email that said, CompT is kind of backing away from the anti-repair lobbying, stuff like that's really all I need to get the kick in my step to just go back to work and do what I'm doing. Because if I keep doing what I'm doing, if I keep pushing these little buttons that people say I'm not supposed to be pushing, I get results. And I like getting results. And hopefully you're enjoying watching them. And that's it for today. And as always, I hope you learned something.